Imagine standing in the center of a room so vast, it feels like a cathedral. But instead of saints and stained glass, you are staring up at the belly of a creature, the size of a submarine, a 94-foot blue whale suspended in mid-air, as if the ocean itself had vanished around it. Now, imagine that just one floor above you, a T-Rex is freezing in an eternal roar, and a few steps away, you can touch a rock that fell from outer space billions of years ago. This isn't a fantasy movie. This is the American Museum of Natural History. But the craziest part? This entire palace of science started with just one man, a wild dream, and an empty wallet. Sit back. Let me take you on a journey through time. The year was 1869. The American Civil War had ended only 4 years prior. The country was healing, industries were booming, and New York City was becoming the center of the world. But one thing was missing. Enter Albert Bickmore. Bickmore wasn't a billionaire. He was a zoologist, a student of the famous Louis Agassiz. He had a radical idea. He believed that America needed a museum that could rival the great institutions of London and Paris. He wanted a place that belonged to the public, where a street sweeper could look at the same wonders as a railroad tycoon. But Bickmore had no money. What he did have was the plan. He spent years knocking on the heavy oak doors of New York's wealthiest men. He pitched his idea with the passion of a preacher. Eventually, he found a group of powerful allies who believed in his vision. Among them was a man named Theodore Roosevelt Sr. Yes, the father of the future President Teddy Roosevelt. With the backing of Roosevelt Sr., J.P. Morgan, and other titans of the Gilded Age, the dream became reality. On April 6, 1869, the governor of New York signed the bill officially creating the American Museum of Natural History. It didn't start in a castle, though. It started in a small arsenal building in Central Park, but the collection grew so fast stuffed birds, strange fossils, exotic artifacts, that they needed a real home. In 1877, President Ulysses S. Grant opened the first building at its current legendary location, Manhattan Square, right across from Central Park. If you walk through those massive doors today, you aren't just walking into a building. You are walking into a labyrinth of 26 interconnected buildings housing over 34 million specimens. Let us take a tour of what makes this place the crown jewel of New York today. As you enter, you are greeted by a prehistoric battle. A massive Barosaurus, the tallest freestanding dinosaur mount in the world, is rearing up on its hind legs to defend its baby from a predatory Allosaurus. It is a scene of ancient drama frozen in time, and it sets the tone: you are small, and the world is big. This is the room from our hook, the Nilstein Hall of Ocean Life. Dominating the room is the celebrated blue whale model. It is 94 feet long and 21,000 pounds of fiberglass and foam. Fun fact: when the whale was first built in the mid-1900s, scientists didn't know as much about whales as they do now. It used to look more like a gray blob. In the early 2000s, they gave it a makeover, reshaping the tail, fixing the eyes, and painting it that rich, deep blue. It is arguably the most famous indoor exhibit in the United States. On the 4th floor, you meet the celebrities. The Tyrannosaurus Rex. But this isn't just any T-Rex. The AMNH mount is special because of its posture. For years, T-Rexes were shown standing upright, tail dragging on the ground like Godzilla. The scientists here realized that was wrong. They remounted it to be horizontal, balanced like a bird, head low, ready to snap. Nearby, you'll find the Titanosaur, a creature so massive, 122 feet long, that it doesn't even fit in the room. Its head pokes out the door to greet visitors in the hallway. This hall is a work of art. In the center stands a herd of 8 African elephants. But look at the walls. These are the famous dioramas. These aren't just stuffed animals in a box. In the early 20th century, artists and scientists traveled to Africa to sketch the exact botany. The lighting of the sun at 4 p.m. on the Serengeti, and the dust in the air. They recreated these scenes with such perfection that standing in front of them feels like looking through a window into a vanishing world. Attached to the museum is a giant glass cube containing a massive sphere. This is the Hayden Planetarium, often associated with the famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Here, you can touch meteorites that are older than the Earth itself and watch the birth of the universe in the Space Theater. Why do Americans and the world love this place? It's not just because of the night at the museum movies. No, let's be honest, imagining the exhibits coming to life is part of the charm. It is because the American Museum of Natural History represents the ultimate American value, curiosity. Albert Bickmore and Theodore Roosevelt Sr. built a place where the unknown becomes known. Whether it's the Lucy skeleton, our ancient human ancestor, the Star of India, the world's largest blue star sapphire, or the tiniest ant preserved in amber, this museum tells the story of us. It tells us where we came from, who we shared this planet with, and where we might go in the stars.